Hello and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse. And today we're once again looking at the people who ask us to decide if their actions are justified over at Reddit/Am I the A-hole? Let me know what you think of these stories in the comments, as well as any suggestions you might have that we may just use in a future installment. Get ready to pass some judgment, cause we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, Am I the A-hole for disowning my brother when he came out as gay because of how he's treating his wife? I, 21 female, have a brother, 28, who came out as gay last month. He has been married to my best friend's big sister, 24, for 4 years. They have 2-year-old twin daughters together. I'm really close with her, so I've been trying to stay neutral in what has become a messy situation. My brother told his wife he's gay by sitting her down and saying he had been sleeping with 2 different men for about 6 months. He said he is now sure that he feels romantic feelings for men, and also told her he has been sleeping with random men from Grindr for over a year behind her back. She is obviously freaked out, asked him how he could do this, why didn't he tell her when he started having the feelings, etc. He said that he's always thought he was gay, but he didn't want to come out because it might affect his career. She asked him what about the effect on her life. She is now a single mother with 2 toddlers. He was essentially very angry that she wasn't supportive of this, so he kicked her out of the house with the 2 kids. After she eventually found a place to stay, my brother moved in one of the men he has been having an affair with. Since then, he has had very little contact with the kids, as in speaking to them on the phone once a week maybe. He has expressed that he still doesn't want to be public about coming out, so he posted on Facebook that he has separated from his wife because they aren't in love anymore, and hinted she was the unfaithful one, posting things like, yeah, seems like someone in this relationship wasn't satisfied with just one man, and is basically being a dick. I told him a couple weeks ago that he's a fucking asshole, and I don't want to be involved with him anymore because I think it's disgusting that he's treated his wife like this. I told him I get that you have to come out in your own time, but you don't need to kick her out, ignore your kids, and berate her. And you don't need to make comments that people will assume mean she was being unfaithful. He said this was a joke about him having 2 partners now. Still f***ed up. He said I'm being a homophobic asshole and that I don't know how hard it is to come out. He said that if I don't accept him, I'm a bigot. He made mistakes and whatnot. I said maybe I will forgive him if he improves his behavior to his wife, and he said he resents her for keeping him from sleeping with men for years. I gave up at this point. My sisters, 17 and 24, both think I'm being homophobic. My mom agrees with me. Am I the a-hole? Whoa now, you are definitely not the a-hole, especially considering that his problem has less to do with his orientation and more about how he cheated on his wife multiple times and hid it from her. People sometimes get divorced, and straight or not, he cheated, then proceeded to make her feel bad about it when he should have just talked to her about it and let her know he was having these feelings. But what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Moving on, our next story is called, Am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband for eating the wrong cookies? This is some petty-ass nonsense. I, 37 female, made fancy cookies for a friend's birthday this past week. The amount of planning that went into these cookies was silly, to be honest. Slowly but surely, I collected the ingredients I needed through annoying-ass grocery and Amazon orders, and miraculously had everything I needed to make these cookies on time for my BFF's birthday. Baking them was also a hassle. I had to bake them in small batches in order to correct the dough until I got the perfect cookie. So I'm running back and forth to the kitchen for hours while also taking care of my 10-month-old son. I made extra cookies because my hubby has a sweet tooth. Hubby, 38 male, comes home from work and is super excited that I made cookies. I tell him how hard I've been working on these tricky-ass cookies and tell him very specifically that there are 6 cookies he must not eat that are perfect in size and shape and decoration and will be given to my BFF. I tell him this twice because I can't stand the thought of having to deal with more cookie decorating. I even separated the off-limit cookies from the rest, so it's obvious which ones are not meant for him. He nods in acknowledgement. That evening, he's back and forth, in and out of the kitchen, eating cookies, getting chocolate on the fucking sofa as he eats them. At some point, I check on the perfect 6 cookies to see if the decorations have set, and what's this? One of the 6 quarantine cookies is missing! I asked hubby why he ate one of the special cookies, and he laughed. Oh, honey, the other cookies were too big, and I just wanted one last small cookie. I was only a little mad at first, but kind of shocked. I told him, I can't believe you just did that when I asked you not to twice! WTF, dude? His reaction,
It's not a big deal, sweetie. Are you really going to get upset over a cookie? There are so many cookies left. Just use one of the others or give her 5 instead of 6.
At that point, I got a little more angry. I told him that I wanted an apology and that he was being inconsiderate. He rolled his eyes at me and apologized sarcastically and muttered that he would sleep on the couch tonight.
Because we're arguing about cookies now.
He said I was being immature for arguing with him about the cookies. He gives me the silent treatment for the rest of the night and slept on the chocolate-stained sofa. Now I'm f***ing pissed and confused. Am I an a-hole because I made a big deal out of this stupid cookie situation? TLDR, my husband ate cookies that weren't meant for him and then got mad at me for making a big deal out of it. I don't feel that you are being an a-hole, considering how hard you worked on these cookies for your friend. And not only did you separate the special ones, but you talked to your husband about it multiple times. You see, guys can be stupid and forgetful. I'm guilty of this myself sometimes. But I would own up to it, instead of trying to make my wife feel bad about it. Our next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for taking a shit when my girlfriend was in terror? This sounds ridiculous, and I can't believe I'm posting this, but my girlfriend is sincerely mad at me and is making me out to be an a-hole. So I went to bed last night with a sore stomach. Without going into too much detail, I'd been constipated for a while now. When I woke up, nature finally called and she wasn't ready to be put on hold. I got up and was on my way to the bathroom when I heard my girlfriend screaming from the living room. I quickly ran there to see what was going on, just to find out it was 2 f***ing spiders. They were sort of big, keeping to themselves by the TV stand. I told her to calm down and that I would deal with it after I'm done, then walked back to the bathroom to do the deed. Right in the middle of taking a shit, my girlfriend knocks repeatedly on the bathroom door, now literally crying about how they moved closer to the couch. I get she was scared, but the shit was literally halfway out. So I told her to just lock herself in the bedroom until I'm done. After it was all done, roughly 15 minutes, I came out and relocated the spiders outside onto the balcony, then went to tell my girlfriend. Problem is, she wasn't in the room. I pretty much looked everywhere for her until I finally called her and she answered really angry, talking about how shitty and useless I am. Turns out she packed a bag and left to stay with her parents. WTF? She literally had walked past these dangerous spiders to get to the door. I apologize though, but she's still not having it. And even her mother has chipped her 2 cents in about how pathetic a boyfriend I am. I feel like this is an overreaction, but am I the a-hole? That situation doesn't sound too pleasant. You're not the a-hole, especially if you literally had a turd hanging out of you when she started screaming at you. My missus doesn't like spiders very much either, but she's tough enough to deal with them if I'm preoccupied with something. If this was the catalyst to break your relationship, then it might have been doomed from the start. I certainly hope you two work it out, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. Our next story is called, Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my boyfriend with his business after he publicly declared it was just him? My boyfriend runs a small food business, has done it for the last few years. I have my own job, but since he's begun cooking professionally, I have always been involved. From helping with menus, doing his finances and packaging orders for delivery, etc. I have always felt like it was partly mine. I have always assumed he saw it the same way. As it's never been, hey, can you help me with this? But rather, you need to do this today for me. Although I have put some of my own money in this business, I never expected to be an equal partner. But as I spend around 20 hours a week doing work for him, some credit would be nice. Up until recently, he would usually say we in most social media posts, and I assume that was both of us. It is really all the credit I needed. The other day, he made an Instagram business post, which was partly about how difficult it is to operate right now, and, paraphrasing, said it was particularly difficult for him as he was doing this totally by himself. As usual, I proofread his post. I was pretty hurt to see the line about not having any help, and I did bring it up. He said that it was better for the business if it looked like it was all him. A few hours later, he asked me to package up some orders for shipping. I retorted that he should do it himself if it's better for business. I was partly joking, but he was furious in his reaction, and I've now told him I won't do anything for him. He's now trying to fill in some forms, something I normally handle, and struggling. The one friend I've told thinks I should help him, as it's not like I want a public declaration of my existence, and this is a stupid fight. I think that if my work isn't being rewarded with cash, some basic respect would work well too. I also think it might be worth him learning how difficult yet mind-numbingly boring some of the work I do for him is. So, Am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole in my eyes, seeing as how you've been pitching in and taking care of things for him without any appreciation. It would be one thing if he just neglected to mention your presence, but to outright lie about him running the business solo when you were happy helping him out in addition to your other job, it's not too much to ask for a little acknowledgement. Plus, it's not like you're sabotaging his business, and maybe stepping back and allowing him to see all that you've been doing for him will give him an understanding of how important you are. Either way, I hope things work out for you both. Our final story is called, Am I the a-hole for gatecrashing my ex's wedding and causing the marriage to get annulled? My ex's wedding was in February, and like you could guess, I wasn't personally invited, nor was I told anything about it from him, even though we spoke daily. Well, I found out about it from his grandmother. We're close, and she suggested I gatecrash, and that she would cover for me, think she doesn't like the bride. I was interested in going because I wanted to find some closure since we had broken up rather quickly a few months before, and I still wasn't over him. So I said yes. The day came and his grandmother snuck me in and we watched the ceremony. It was beautiful. I shed a few tears, but it really solidified things. I was ready to leave afterwards, but his grandmother pushed me to go to the reception as well and sit next to her at the family table. Pretty awkward, but I went. I was still mingling with the family, standing up when the bride and groom came. They came and greeted, and she congratulated me on the pregnancy. I thanked her and said something about how I couldn't wait to co-parent with the two of them. Turns out that she didn't know I was pregnant with his child the whole time. She lost her shit and ran out. He tried to run after her, but then her dad came and started a scene. Lucky for me, my ex's brother came and helped me get out of there as soon as possible. My ex still asks for updates, but I recently heard from his grandmother they broke up and got an annulment. The bride weirdly still follows me and comments/likes my pictures, so I think she's fine with me, but still, am I the a-hole? In my opinion, everyone sucks in this scenario. Your ex-husband for not telling you that he was getting remarried, or telling his new bride that you were carrying his baby. The grandmother for encouraging you to go and crash his wedding. This is just a complete and utter cluster of a-holes. I understand you wanted some closure, and it probably wasn't the best idea to just show up, but at least it helped bring some things out in the open. I can't make a clear verdict on this story, but what do you guys think? I'm eager to hear your thoughts below. Anyways, that's about all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning in with me, Jesse. What did you think of these stories? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. Have a beautiful day, and don't be an a-hole.